Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lisa, Western New York, world. We're broadcasting to the world. We're out there.
Via the World Wide Web.
Oh my gosh, right? I was thinking about this morning, this used to be a lot different. We, in our offices, and then, we said, well, let's take it Facebook, and now we added YouTube, and I was like, man, if you feel like starting a new social media platform, you let us know, because we're on it. We'll be there.
I have to say, and I don't know about you, Chuck, because again, we made it, public.
Yes.
I do have friends say, oh, like that was really good. I enjoyed watching that. And people who have no connection to real estate, I was like, oh, all right. And then I had someone say to me, oh, I think I want one of those apps that you talked about.
Wow.
When we
Okay.
talked about which of the apps you and I both like, and I was like, oh, I'd be happy to set you up with that. So
Very nice.
kind of interesting
Okay.
how it multiplies, just
Right.
organically. So pretty
Right.
interesting.
Putting yourself out there. Don't be a secret agent.
It's really hard though, I'll admit.
Part of the reason we're doing this though is just to show that it can be done.
Right.
We're not trying to be the answer for everybody. We honestly, my goal is inspiration. I want everyone to see like, oh my God, Chuck does it. He's really not that good. And he does mistakes all the time.
Right.
But he's still out there. He goes on the next week and makes it happen. So
yeah, I totally agree. Like we will never suggest something for you to do that we're not willing to do ourselves. Right. Because we don't want to be those people say, oh, you should blah, blah, blah. Like we're gonna blah, blah, blah ourselves.
Right. That maybe blah, blah, blahing my way through real estate life.
Yes. Yes.
I do. I say that all the time in my fast start. Anyone who's done my fast start classes. Oh boy, message. Anyone who's done one of my fast start classes has said, I teach them a word track. Would it be okay with you if I sent you blah, blah, blah? It's okay. You can unsubscribe anytime. And I go repeat, and we do it together. It's like summer camp. Would it be okay with you if I sent you blah, 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 and just insert whatever you want and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If I sent you a birthday card, who doesn't love a birthday card? If I sent you a neighborhood newsletter, if I sent you a monthly or an annual market review of your property, how would you like that?
Yeah.
I think they would like it.
I think they would. And that definitely, like the way you phrase that, is it okay? Like, and if they don't want it,
yeah,
then they can say, you know what, thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
And that's fine too.
I ask for permission.
Yes. Yes.
And you can always change. So, but it's July 3rd. Tomorrow, speaking of birthdays, happy birthday, United States. Oh, wait, I wish I had confetti or something. I could. I
wore my 4th of July earrings. I have to make sure they're in the shot.
Okay, very nice.
And then in September, they will be Buffalo Bills earrings.
Speaking of Buffalo Bills, we just announced our event. It's going to be at St. John Fisher. I forget the date.
I believe it's August 9th.
Okay, I
believe I put it in my calendar already.
You get your ticket yet?
So much fun.
You buy your ticket yet?
No.
All right. Well, you will. I know. They say like the up to a certain number of tickets, but I have a feeling if we accidentally sold another 50 or 100 tickets, it would be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember last year, but like, cause we have the tent, right? But you don't stay under the tent. You legit, like I was in the tent for like 5 minutes and then you're out. They're going to have a tented area where we were watching the game from last time, to help, for safety reasons. And so I think it'll help people, because it was hot, the sun, the hot and everything. So that'll be a different feature this year. There'll be a tented area out where you can watch from.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I think that part of it will be more enjoyable. A little bit. Not that, I thought it was awesome last year. I never even thought of that. So get your tickets.
Yes.
If you need, yeah, put a comment below if you want the link to go get the tickets. They're $75. Now a portion, like I think more than half of that ticket, I think, goes towards the charity, which is raising money for our Howard Hanna Children's Free Care Fund. And because it is a charity event, if for some reason the Buffalo Bills cancel practice that day, no bueno, we do not get a refund. So it all goes towards the charity. So I guess because we're partnered with the Bills here and with the hospital. And so fingers crossed, hopefully we have a beautiful, awesome. I mean, last year the day couldn't have been any nicer.
Right. Right.
know?
And it's pretty cool. Like I've lived in Western New York most of my life.
Yeah.
I had never been to training camp before. And
Yeah.
so I had a great time. Like you're watching them. I mean, and that's why like I didn't complain about the heat because I'm not playing football in it. Like
Yeah.
they were out there running around. We could walk over, get a bottle of water, then come back and just relax. But it was really cool, I thought, to watch. Cool just to be that close to the players. I had some great pictures from that day. It was a lot of fun. And again, like you said, Chuck, it's for a great cause. So you feel good that you're doing something great. You feel good that you're helping the Children's Free Care Fund and you're having what a great way to spend a weekday. It was fun.
It was fun. I remember, I think Matt brought his kids last year. It's fun. We get to see I had my son with me and my friend Diane who lives around the corner and her son, Daniel, Owen and Daniel are friends. And she's a grad she's a St. John Fisher grad. And she had tried to get tickets through the alumni event for their day at the practice. But there's a lot of St. John Fisher grads. So she goes, it was sold out in like 3 minutes.
Wow.
And now theirs is not a charity event though. It's just the ticket, like whatever it costs to do it. That's all they collect. And so, but it was sold out and so fast she couldn't get it. And I said, hey, listen, don't worry about it. So I bought her tickets for her and her son because guess what? They're clients. I did work with them. And they referred me a couple times. And so I said to say, thank you, here you go. Here's some tickets. And she was, just ecstatic,
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So we look forward to doing that again this year.
Yes. Yeah. So the point being, don't wait,
Right.
Just because they just went on sale, don't assume, I'm going to wait to see what the weather's like a couple days before and get my ticket. You're probably not going to be able to. So you got to make that commitment today.
And if you have, and very good. Perfectly said, of course.
Okay. So back to our show and our talking about numbers and what's going on. And Chuck, why don't you start?
Yeah. So two things. I was going to share, let me share screen here. Two things. Now in my board, in Rochester board, we go to market stats. We have that button on our dashboard. We go to market stats. It's driven by Domus Analytics. I think in Buffalo, you have InfoSparks. Is that?
Yep. We have
right?
InfoSparks. Yes.
Yep. And I love, we used to have InfoSparks and I liked InfoSparks a lot. And I especially liked how you could really dial in the specifics of the property that, and today I was looking at our dashboard and what we have. And so I found this and I went over again, and this is kind of something I was talking to an agent yesterday about. He's like, how do you do this? How do you figure this out? I go, I don't know. I just start clicking around. And eventually, if I click around enough, I see something. I go, oh, so that's how that works. That's how I do that. So I started out with this, and I started out with my infographic, right? Which is kind of where we start with everything. Great. It gives me a broad spectrum. This is great to copy and paste onto your Instagram or your Facebook. Let people who are already following you, you're already in relationship with, people that already know, like, and trust you, be the knowledge broker. Share this with them. Okay. But then I went over another tab, which I kind of talked, this is what I used for my video that we talked about a couple weeks ago. And then I went over to this other tab here called Market Insights. And I noticed this thing over here. Now, this is super great. Now, I noticed this thing here says show filters, yes or no. And so, no, Yes, show the filters. And I noticed not only can I select, let's say, just the Buffalo Niagara region, and maybe I could select just Erie County, but down below, I can also change my bedroom. So I could look for, like, say I was going to go get data for a property. I want to give maybe the sellers of a property the most recent, most applicable data for their house, not the overall broad market, but
Right.
specifically to their house. And their house has 2.5 bathrooms. So I don't want to compare it to houses that have 6 bathrooms. I want 2 to 3 bathrooms. And as I change these toggles, um, my data bar changes. And so I don't want properties with bunch, this is like a new construction on a 1/4 acre lot or a 1/2 acre or something. So I changed my acreage from a 1/4 acre to 3/4 acre. And now when I remove that, I
Wow.
unshow the filters. Now it shows me data specifically for Erie County, all areas, specifically for a house that is like the house that I'm going to meet with those sellers and tell them what's going on with their property. So I learned how to do it. I'm excited.
It's true because, I mean, you need specific data to make good decisions,
Yeah.
right? You need to know what's happening, just like you said, Chuck, narrow it down to price point, narrow it down to year built, right? Like that
Right.
can make a big difference too.
Sure.
But then that's where, the data only does so much. Then it's the experience of the realtor having that discussion. You
Right.
might have a house that is two houses, they're both 60 years old. One was updated 20 years ago and one was updated 5 years ago. Those are different stories. But at least if you start with the wide range look, and then the realtor is going to narrow it down and really drill into that information and have the comparisons. But it's huge to be able to know what is happening. In one of the charts you had up there, Chuck, it was days on market. I think the average was 9. Well, you think about how long the days on market average was, like 3 or 4 days. So if
Right.
you go from 3 to 9, you're tripling the days on market, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and when a house has been on the market for 7 days, what are we hearing from realtors in our offices? The sellers are worried. What happened? I thought homes were selling in 2 days. Well, if things are going to at some point get to a more balanced market, it's going to happen slowly. It's not going to shift overnight from a 1 month supply of homes to a 6 month supply of
Right.
homes.
Sure.
That's going to happen slowly. We don't have a bubble, so there's nothing to burst. We don't have to.
Right.
No one needs to fear about a bubble bursting because we're not in that situation. But a balanced market could be happening and it's going to happen slowly, which is why your realtor knows, okay, from 3 days to 9 days, we're noticing.
Right.
And we can look at, in some of these reports, we can even look at the number of showings, right? We can
Sure.
see, are the showings changing? Your realtor can talk to you about open house activity. Maybe we don't have 25 people at an open house, which is crazy and too many. Maybe we have 5 sets of people at an open house. And
Okay.
that's manageable. And it's always our personal opinions on these shows, but
Sure.
five
We
five
do
sets
not.
of
It is
people.
absolutely our person. We do not speak for anyone. Do be clear.
Um,
We are
we don't
not.
even have Holly on with us to go, what are you
Right.
saying?
Yeah. No. No bueno.
But yeah, so your realtor is going to know. And again, talking with those numbers, and drilling down into even neighborhoods, into school districts, into, we have some little small pocket postal codes that they don't even have a town, but they have their own post office, right? So
Right.
we can drill into that data to help you make decisions.
One thing I want to caution everybody about when you're looking at data, especially like big area, big market versus small areas. When you're in a small area, like my home market, if a property were to sell for $500,000 or something, that would swing like the data. It would look, a year later, you'd be going back and you'd say, "Holy crap, what was that big spike for?" When we don't have that many property transfers, each sale will really swing the data. So sometimes it's better to go a little bit more broadly when you're looking at data to get more of a better predictor, because you need, like, the more data you have, the better, the more likely, the better your predictions get.
Mhm. So
And
true.
you'll see a smoother line, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
so don't.
and then you also look at what's happening, right? So, we just had some information from our, association government affairs director talking about a $40 million investment into tech fields, and that could be
Yeah,
bringing more jobs, it could be bringing more people. So, sometimes when something like that is announced, you know, business will spike up a little bit because people are like, "Oh, this is exciting," you know, "We've got some more things happening." You know, and on the other end, we have people, I'm sure you've heard it from agents in your office that there are some people out there saying, well, I want to wait until after the election.
yes,
And so we start hearing that
yes,
rumblings, I would say usually in January in a presidential year. And then the rumblings, it gets a little stronger and stronger too. Like, well, maybe I should wait. Maybe I should wait for interest rates to come down. Maybe I should wait for, you know, fill in the blank. So what do you tell agents, realtors, what are they saying when someone says, I want to wait till after the election? What's your advice?
don't. All right, they say don't, like, oh, I've heard all these great quips lately. But you know, don't don't try. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market. Okay. So again, and you can't time the market, which is really funny. I was working with a client and he's a financial advisor, and he was trying to time the market. And I said, what do you tell all your clients? Don't time the market, right? Dollar cost average, put contributions in every single month, make it part of your thing. And over time, he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I say. And I go, you're doing exactly to me like what he's like, yeah, you're right. And so
Yeah,
thankfully things worked out, but you can't time the market. And so what do you need to do in your life? If you don't need to move right now, don't move.
right.
If you need to move, move, right? Honestly,
Yes.
our job is to give you all the data so that you can make an informed consensual decision. That's it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And if you want to list your house, I tell my guys, I'm going to give you all these guides, and this should tell you probably where your house would be successful, listing, marketing here to sell, you know, hopefully here, you know. But if you want to list here, then we'll list here. It's your house, right? You're hiring me to market your house, not to buy it. So,
Right. Right. So
mm,
when you know, I think one of the things that I do really agree with is, you know, it's most people are not buying or selling houses because you got a great deal, right? Like,
right.
hey, that shirt was on sale. I don't have anywhere to wear it, but I'm going to grab it because it's a good deal and it's pretty. Well, that's different than I'm going to move my whole household, you know, people, pets,
Hmm.
things. That's something that isn't just because I got a great deal on a pretty house, right?
Yes.
Now, that being said, how many times has the house come up that everybody has been watching for years and years and years, and it's an architectural gem, and then yes, you're gonna have people saying, "Oh, I didn't know that Eden
Yes.
Greenhouse was ever gonna be on the market. I'm gonna make a move." But that's fewer and farther between. Usually, it's a well thought out decision because of your situation. You need
Yeah.
to move, you want to move, and the timing is right. You wanna buy your first house, right? Like, people don't
Just
normally wait once they get qualified to buy their first house. They wanna get that house.
yeah. No. Absolutely. Don't. You know, one thing I would do is if someone was talking to me right now about and they were concerned about the election, I would say, well, generally, again, it introduces the idea of uncertainty, right? We just we don't know who's going to be the president of the United States starting January 20th of 2025. And then I say, well, then we're only going to know it for 4 years. We don't know what's going to happen 4 years after that. Real estate's a long game. So,
Yes.
uh, you know, is that the right question? Is that the right question to ask? You know, one thing I would try to do is instead of, if I would try to look at if you were really trying to help guide a client, I would look at data from January, February of what 2021, right? I would look, what did the market do in the couple months after the last election? And I'd say that's probably a good predictor for what the market's going to do in the couple months after this election, because it's repeating events and it's probably going to happen again. So I would use, you know, my tools on through my board dashboard there. Or I might go on a NISAR and you can go in the Wayback Machine and you can get reports for going back to 2012, I think. So I would be looking at that. I would be looking at that month of January, February, March in 2021 and 2017 and 2013. All those posts. Once the final transition had taken place, what happened? What happened the next 3 to 6 months after that?
Yeah. Yes. And again, it's asking those questions. What finding out, well, what is it that's concerning you? What
Yeah.
is it that's making you hold off? And is there a way that you can get some reassurance? It might be a time, it's a kind of forgotten option. We have the money back guarantee. I mean,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
if you're really
Yeah.
thinking, I'm not sure what's going
Yeah.
to happen. I mean,
Right.
our money back guarantee doesn't go on pause
Right.
during
Right. Right.
presidential election years, right? So if you're really uncertain, get that money back guarantee. And if a year from now it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, we'll buy the house back.
I was talking one time. I was talking with Hottie, name drop, Hottie, and we were talking about the money back guarantee, and I said, this is exactly like it finally makes sense from the first time I learned about it back in 2016 or when we introduced it into our region. We were all like, well, okay, but it's a great marketing tool, and and I said to him, I go, but this now I see a real serious practical use for this money back guarantee. If you're someone like as a seller to try to ease that fear of the buyer and get, $5,000 or $10,000 more out of that buyer to get them to be the winner. Don't
Right.
worry. Because if the thing blows up and we've got big problems as a country, well, you bought the money back guarantee. You were so smart and you prepared for this. You did everything you could to be prepared, and you have that little fuzzy feeling that you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it, right? Everybody else is flipping
Insurance.
out and you're like, I'm
Right.
not worried. I got the
No.
money back guarantee, right?
Right.
That's exactly back when it was introduced in the early 80s. We were in a very similar time period when banks didn't want to underwrite these loans. It was bananas and the interest rates were so high and financially it didn't make sense. And the Hannahs said, well, you know what? We believe it's going to be fine. We believe people are going to want to live in houses. We believe that's still going to be the best answer for everybody. So you know what? We'll guarantee it. And
Yes.
we're kind of back in that boat again. And so I
Right.
love it. I absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's the answer to a lot of fears for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Yeah. Well, I hope we shared something about data, how to go find the data that we've all got on our dashboards, and you
yes.
can dial it in exactly the way you want, which is great. Be
Right, and
consistent.
interpretation is key. I mean,
Mhm.
I liken it to, maybe it's just me, right? I go and I get my blood work done from my doctor, and they send you this, like, 5-page report of all these numbers and words I don't know, and I'm like, "Okay, well," and then they give you, like, the parentheses, "Your number is here, it should be here," so I'm like, "Okay, if it's in, I'm good, and if it's out, I guess they'll call me and tell me there's a problem," right? But, so the same thing with real estate, like, if you buy or sell a house every, 5 to 10 years, you shouldn't be expected to understand everything the way your realtor does, right? Your realtor is
Yeah.
going to say, okay, here's what we're looking at. Here's what your competition is. Yes, that market analysis, we're going to bring in those past sales, but we're also going to be talking about your competition. Okay. If I'm a buyer and I have to choose these two houses, if they're the same price, which one am I going to choose?
Yeah.
Because you want to be the chosen house, not the passed over house. And how do we make your house be the next sale, right? Some houses are still selling in 3 days, some houses are selling in 12 days to get our averages. So do you want to be on the market 3 days or 12 days? And how does your realtor look to say, this is what we need to do to make this happen? I know showings are inconvenient, but we
Yeah.
have to let people in if we want them to buy it. So, those are the conversations between your realtor and yourself as a seller to say, okay. And then as a buyer, right? Like let's look at the inventory and see I'm looking at it differently when you're working with a buyer to say, okay, let's look. Let's look and see what's going on in these markets.
When I hear you keep saying, um, talking with your sellers, talking with your clients, I keep hearing the idea that we're supposed to be in conversation with people.
Yes.
Right? Like that's really the thing. Like it doesn't the message is almost irrelevant. Like they don't care if it's a good message, bad message, it doesn't matter. As long as it's coming from you. They want to get the message from someone they trust, and no matter what the message is, they're not going to start, oh, I don't like Chuck anymore because he keeps giving me bad news about the real estate business, like no, like they're going to say, I really respect Chuck. He's like not afraid to give me the bad news. He's not here just
Yes.
blah blah blah. Um, that's
I'm glad you said that. And I think next month we should ask maybe Kevin to come on our show and talk about numbers with us on our first week, because we get the and if you're not already following First Priority on social media, you should, because they have their markets in a minute video that comes
oh
out
yeah,
every week. Yes, First B, good plug. They and you know what? Sometimes I'll watch it, and just like you're talking about, Chuck, it'll be like, and the speaker who talks over, right, is very much like, well, and he has a good, obviously good voice. The markets have been down 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, oh, that's not what I want to send out. It's like the weatherman. Like everybody wants to be a weather person in San
rain
Diego,
again
right?
today. It's gonna
What?
rain
It's
today,
gonna rain.
tomorrow, the next day.
Storm. I know. But you know what? It is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Like, but when he says like the rates have been down for 3 weeks, but they're going down like an eighth, and they're hovering. So it's not that bad. But again,
right.
no one likes to give bad news, but in the big picture, it's like, well, sometimes it does rain, and then the flowers grow, and then I can go back to Pollyanna and say, look, at the sun is shining today.
Yeah.
So but yes, but markets in a minute. If you're looking to buy or sell, you need to be informed, to the good and the bad.
Yes. The good and the bad. You have to be the one sharing the message. You're
Yes.
the source. You're the knowledge broker. You're the one. They say when I think real estate, you're top of mind.
Yes. Yes. And at
So
Howard Hanna, we I love our slogan. Howard Hanna has the answer, because we do.
right.
And your Howard Hanna agent has all the answers, that you need.
I agree. I agree. Especially that again, I think you nailed it. Closing thought. Is that the closing thought? Your Howard Hanna has all the answers. We have the
Yes.
answer.
Yes.
Our clients have the questions. Go find the questions. Ask them the question. Think of the question. Ask the question for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Try to
that's the
stump
best
us.
thing. What?
I said, try to stump us. Give us a question we might not know.
Ooh, we should do a show like that. Yeah, we need to do a live action question show. Maybe I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, I would really, really do that. So share. Well, maybe invite your friends to watch our show. Do an office party.
Yeah. And
That would
ask
be
us
fun.
questions.
All right. All
All
right. Are
right.
we done? I
Well,
think we're
happy
out.
4th of July. I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe, happy,
Yes.
you know, from
Yes.
the town of Hamburg. I hope you have some good hamburgers and hot dogs tomorrow.
All right. All right. Everybody have a safe and happy 4th of July. Cheers, everybody.